Kenyans are set to brace for tough economic times following proposals in the Finance Bill 2024-2025 to increase taxes in the edible oil sector, which will propel an increase of the prices of the commodity. Speaking while appearing before National Assembly Edible Oil Manufacturers Chairman Hail Saeed told MPs the proposed taxes will increase the cost of living for Kenyans by increasing prices for basic commodities, which include cooking oil, soap, and bread and baked commodities, stating that Kenya has become unfriendly for business following its unpredictable tax policies.
Appearing before the National Assembly Trade and Investments Committee, edible oil manufacturers to shed light on the skyrocketing prices of edible oils in the country, the manufacturers' chair Saeed revealed to MPs that the situation is likely to worsen should Finance Bill 2024-2025 pass as it is. To avert the situation, the edible oil manufacturers are now pushing MPs to repeal the proposed 25% exercise duties on edible oils and margarines, arguing that consumers are already constrained by the increased taxes such as housing levy and county.
Why would we not expect or see a drop in your cost now that you depend on a lot of importation, which of course the US dollar rate has helped, and the palm oil pricing?
They don't have, Uganda doesn't have NOCD, not an oil crop levy. They don't have IDF and RDL. Their RDL is very low, but not on imported raw materials. The proposal in the finance bill is to improve IDF from 2.5, which was 1.5 for manufacturers, went to 2.5, now it is to 3%. And we are talking here for Mama Wanjiku and the Wanjikus and the Marys and the etc.
Co-Manufacturers Limited Chairperson Vimal Shah, in his submission, avowed that 25% excise duty, whose intention is to curtail importation of palm oil in a bid to promote local production of sunflower oil, will adversely affect local manufacturers.
And manufacturers selling at the same price, you'll find variation on prices. So I can say with confidence there is no monopoly whatsoever. Just to answer that question.
Government itself became the illicit trader to bring in goods without any taxes and then say we now will compete with the industry here. Is that not an unequal playing field? Why not give everybody the same benefit and then say we compete? We could have competed.
The proposed excise duty is said to apply to both raw materials and refined cooking oils, threatening to significantly increase the price of cooking oil, a staple commodity in the household.
Not making ourselves competitive. So let's get out of the license raj and say, liberalize Kenyans, you can do a lot more, you can expand, you can prosper. And rightly, startups today in Kenya, I speak to a lot of the startups. They're telling us we're cutting down, we're moving somewhere else because Kenya does not help startups.
Elizabeth Mutuko, TV47, Nairobi.
And since we're already talking about it, let's delve into the economy. 3,000 Kenyans stand to lose their jobs if the finance bill is passed by Parliament as is. Kenya Manufacturers Association warns that some of the revenue-raising measures in the finance bill will cripple Kenya's industry, making imported goods more affordable compared to the locally manufactured products. The association hinted that Wanjiku wouldn't be spared with essential products such as sanitary pads and diapers, costs that will rise by 30%. Here's Moige William with more.
A bleak future looms over Kenya's production and manufacturing sector, as warned by the Kenya Association of Manufacturers. If the proposed Finance Bill 2024 is passed, the situation is projected to worsen significantly. The association chief executive officer Anthony Mwangi paints a grim picture that proposals of levies targeting the sector will worsen the state of affairs in the sector, whose contribution of the country's gross domestic product dropped by a staggering 7% in 2023.
The cost of construction has gone up by over 40%. If you talk to the banks, now they're dealing with non-performing loans, and especially in the construction industry. And because of some of the, yes, there are other reasons, but major reasons is a policy interference by government.
The proposals such as the eco-levy, a new environmental tax that target to set up waste management infrastructure, Kenya Manufacturers Association says this proposal will be detrimental to Mwananchi as it will increase prices of packaging material and hygiene products. The association warning products such as a litre of cooking oil will go up by 16 shillings, 400 grams loaf of bread by 9 shillings and detergent price up by 30 shillings. Also of concern is the proposed excess duty, where the government has proposed to impose excess duty on various products including coal, plastic products and cooking oil. Manufacturers citing it will increase cost of living, where they propose 25% excess duty on crude palm oil, 25% excess duty on finished cooking oil, 10% excess duty on plastic packaging materials and eco-levy on plastic packaging at 150 shillings per kilogram. This will see the cost of 1 litre cooking oil increase by 168 shillings, that is from 300 to 468 shillings.
It is wrong, it is misadvised, it is unwarranted, and is going to put us in a worse position than 2023.
The fears raised by the Kenya Association of Manufacturers have been echoed by the Kenya Federation of Employers, accusing the government of flying while blind, maintaining that the business environment cannot suffice enough grounds for government to raid any more on Kenyan pockets and should take good riddance from the Impact of Finance Act of 2023-2024, citing it has led to reduction of exports, job losses, loss of tax revenue, increased prices of commodities.
If we do not address some of these issues or all of them, we are facing a crisis.
If the business environment improves and the cost of doing business is stabilized, then we expect to get more returns.
More taxes and Kenyans will not bear it all. This is the clarion call being made by different stakeholders as the debate on the Finance Bill 2024 rages on. Moige William, TV47, Nairobi.
Thank you, Moige, for that report. In the coast, an altercation erupted in Mombasa County as trailers ferrying Mogoka were blocked on their way to Mombasa County. This caused mixed reactions among residents as they clashed with the county enforcement officers. Mogoka traders say that for the period the crop has been banned, traders have counted irreparable losses. And as Paul Kirobi now reports, that is becoming a very thorny issue.
The one-time cash crop from Embu County has escalated a fight between locals of Mombasa County and Mogoka traders after leaders from the second largest city had banned the sale of Mogoka in their region. Wednesday morning, things turned murky in Mombasa. On this highway, the entrance to Mombasa County is where the drama began. Drivers ferrying the perishable product were allegedly blocked from entering the city by the county government enforcement officers, with the traders now saying they have counted losses to a tune of millions of shillings for the few days the perishable product was not in the market.
Na hizo pesa ni kama inaweza kuwa kama milioni 50 hivi na siku kadhaa, na watu wengi wetu wamepata shida mingi sana. Kuna wengine wamechomewa mizigo yao hizo siku 4, wengine wameshikwa.
Na hizo siku 5 tumevungiwa hii, mimi nimeenda hasara more than 30,000. Ndio nimeenda kuchukua Mogoka kule tulikuwa inamwagwa. Takuja pale na siko. Nimesiko mara ngapi? Nikitoa 10,000. Unaona?
Mimi ile pesa nilikuwa nimetumia nilikuwa ya kulipa school fees. Sina kwa saa hii. Walimu wametuma message wanataka pesa ya school fees. Nitaitoa wapi na nitafanya nini?
With Mombasa County seen as a hub where the product is largely sold to locals, the directive by the court to stop the ban of Mogoka now puts traders into a difficult situation as county leaders maintain their stance that Mogoka will not be allowed in the county. They have urged the president to weigh in on the matter.
Na utukumbuke pia sisi wewe ni baba yetu, wewe ni rais wetu. So ujue sisi tuko na vilio kama kina mama, kama viongozi na kama watu wa pwani.
This is a battle for this whole region. Isi vita vangu mimi kama Abdul Swamad. Kuna watu ambao kwamba watoto wao wamelazwa Potrizi, wamelazwa katika rehabilitation center.
The head of state is expected to meet with the county leaders of Mombasa, Kilifi and Taita Taveta come next week. Meanwhile, he has already directed Agriculture CS Mithika Linturi to meet with traders of Mogokai in Embu County. Paul Kerobi, TV47.
Thank you, Paul. Tonight, each of the 290 elected members of parliament are set to receive a total of between 180 million shillings and 220 million shillings to finance development projects under the constituency's Development Fund (CDF) in the next financial year. The Budget and Appropriation Committee Chairperson Ndindi Nyoro says that the committee is binded by stipulated laws in budget making, allocating every department funds in accordance with Commission on Revenue Allocation. Micah Gongo with the details.
The government has committed to raising the National Government Constituency Development Funds for the fiscal year 2024-2025 amid the ongoing discussion of the finance bill. The Budget and Appropriation Committee Chairperson Ndindi Nyoro said all constituencies adding to 290 in total will receive between 180 million to 220 million shillings to provide funding for development initiatives in the upcoming fiscal year through the constituency's Development Fund (CDF).
In Kenya now, every constituency will be getting an average of 180 to 220 million shillings every year, because it is differentiated through the number of wards. That is why it is not possible to give the exact figure.
This is an increase of approximately 30 million shillings from the allocation that each constituency received in the year ending June. The NGCDF was allocated a total budget of 57.93 billion shillings for the financial year of 2023-2024. Projects falling under the purview of the national government are the only one for which the NGCDF is intended to provide funding. This covers educational institutions, security-related projects, including police stations and posts, and bursaries. According to Ndindi Nyoro, the committee is constrained by specific legal requirements when creating budget and assigning monies to each institution in compliance with the Commission on Revenue Allocation.
What we do in this domain of budget is to allocate using the rules that are there. We will be glad to engage in any other conversation, but we are restricted now by law. So we strictly follow the law now.
The committee resolved to request extra funding in order to revise the Treasury's proposed budget of 3.14 trillion shillings. The chair addressed the school feeding program that has recently generated controversy, stating that ongoing discussions with the education stakeholders resulted in a decision to allocate 3 billion shillings to the National Council for Nomadic Education in Kenya to support the program's initial phase. Mike Kagwango, TV47, Nairobi.
Now, worry is setting in for residents of 10 of the 47 counties after the National Cohesion and Integration Council (NCIC) disclosed its intention to petition the National Assembly to change the names of the said 10 counties. Meru, Tharaka Nithi, Nandi, Kisii, Turkana, Embu, Samburu, Taita Taveta, West Pokot, and Elgeyo Marakwet could have their names changed if the NCIC has its way. But our reporter Kisewa Emory asks, what is in a name?
What would you do if you had to change your name? Peter Chemaswet, a historian, argues that a sense of identity would be lost. And that could be the feeling shared by residents of 10 counties who do not want the names of their counties to be changed.
Our name can show that we belong to this land. Now, you want to change Nandi. You want to change Kipsigis. You want to change Baringo. You want to change Turkana. Why?
A sense of anxiety has set in the counties of Kisii, Meru, Tharaka Nithi, Nandi, Turkana, Embu, Samburu, Taita Taveta, West Pokot, and Elgeyo Marakwet after the National Cohesion and Integration Commission announced its intention to change the name of the counties. The council claims that they would be annihilating potential discrimination of the people from minor ethnic groups who emanate from the said 10 counties, but historians beg to differ.
Kitu ni kwamba that identity is good for historical purposes. Na tunataka watoto wetu wajue vile miji ili grow. Don't remove names, but remove the mindset. Bring resources and hatutakuwa na matatizo ati ya kikabila.
Disagreeing with the reasoning, residents say that the names are important as they serve the purpose of keeping tradition and culture alive in the counties.
We have our own cultural heritages, which should be defended and protected, and they are well protected and, in the constitution. So our watu wa NCIC wanafaa wakumbuke haya maneno.
A resident's simple question, perhaps to himself and even to the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, is,
balishwe jina iitwe nini?
Historians argue that what the NCIC is proposing would only cause more chaos, doing the opposite of what the intention of changing the names would be.
Trying to change names cannot solve the problem of tribalism and land clashes in Kenya. It can't. Instead, it will even spoil. Changing names cannot change the way people think. It cannot change and bring a new heart that now you have been transformed. So you need to forget that this is your ancestral land and start thinking that it belongs to Kenya.
What is in a name? A sense of identity? A shared purpose? Will the change of names really come to pass? We can only wait and see. Kisewa Emory, TV47.
Good story, Kisawa. Thank you so much for that. Now, Kenya is facing a critical vaccine shortage impacting various counties across the country. Despite limited supplies of essential vaccines, efforts to continue immunization services persist. Experts have warned of potential health risks for children if the situation isn't resolved. Anne Odida with the details.
The vaccine shortage in Kenya is becoming increasingly critical in various regions across the country. In Nairobi, for instance, 4 life-saving immunization vaccines are missing. However, according to Nairobi County Chief Officer for Public Health, mothers who cannot get their children vaccinated at their local hospitals may have alternative options available.
Hasa kaunti ya Nairobi tumekosa vaccine 4 ambayo ni ya PCG, vaccine ya measles na ya polio katika kaunti yetu Nairobi. Na ile iko yenye ni stock ya kutoka hapo mbeleni, sasa iko less than 50% ya zile facilities zetu zinazo offer hiyo service. Lazima ieleweke pia kuwa kaunti ya Nairobi tuko na facilities zaidi ya 500.
Despite the low supply of crucial vaccines such as tetanus, BCG and the oral measles rubella vaccine, Kisii County continues to offer immunization services, including vaccination of children from neighboring counties who come to Kisii for these essential shots.
We have vaccines, not all of them. There are some vaccines which are available in small doses, and there's one which is missing totally. So the one which is missing totally is the rotavirus vaccine, the one which prevents diarrhea or diseases in children under 1 year.
Zenye hatuna hatuna BCG yenye tunaita against the tuberculosis disease. Hiyo yenye huwa watoto wanapewa wakishazaliwa at birth. Alafu yenye pia hatuna ni oral vaccine yenye pia mtoto anapewa akishazaliwa.
For Nakuru County, it is business as usual except for the polio vaccine. All other children immunization vaccines are being administered at the Nakuru Level 5 hospital. However, medical professionals and experts are concerned that if the government does not address this shortage promptly, children born between March and July may face significant health risks, including potential disabilities.
Sasa of course kama watoto watakuwa wanakosa vichanjo, kutakuwa na milipuko ya magonjwa. na hayo sasa yatasababisha madhara mengine. Tutakuwa tutaona watoto wengi wanakuja hospitali, mahospitali yetu yataanza kujaa.
In response to this pressing issue, the Ministry of Health announced last week that it has allocated 250 million Kenyan shillings to accelerate the procurement of routine vaccines and replenish critical stocks. An incoming shipment of vaccine is expected to arrive by the first week of June, which should alleviate some of the shortages. Anne Odida, TV47.
Thank you so much, Anne, for that story. East African Communities Cabinet Secretary Penina Malonza has now made it clear that the bodies of 51 Kenyans are still missing following the torrential floods witnessed in the country, with Mai Mahiu accounting for more than 30 people whose bodies are yet to be found. Our reporter Willie Dennis Njiru with the details.
Addressing the press today amid a dire scene at the Prayer Beyond Boundaries camp in Mai Mahiu, CS Penina Malonza grimly announced that the situation remains grave, with 52 individuals still unaccounted for following the merciless floods that ravaged the nation.
May not give the spread per se, but you know this area we have with more numbers here than elsewhere. Of course, we have quite a number in other sessions. I know too in Makueni here is, I'm not sure whether it has gone beyond 30, but we're still missing quite a number. So this area is having the highest number in terms of the missing persons across the country.
Furthermore, the government has hastily implemented temporary measures to salvage what remains of the education system, ensuring the learning centers across the country remain operational despite insurmountable challenges.
956 schools that are affected, and of course we're working with the Minister of Education, specifically the CS for Education, who is actually having a plan in terms of resettlement and taking statistics on the number of toilets and facilities that are affected. But you heard the President also give that charge to the members of Parliament so that they can use CDF.
Echoing a somber determination, Malonza emphasized the government commitment to providing shelter for all flood victims within the country, urging the affected land be designated solely for agricultural purposes.
If there's any person who will not have a place to resettle, as per the President's commitment, we're going to buy land and resettle them there. But also we'll encourage them when it is dry, also they go and farm in their farms. Just the same way we are drawing people out of the basins, the water, the rivers, so that they can, their farms will remain there, they can farm, but of course we don't want anybody settling there.
A staggering 32 out of 47 counties have been plunged into chaos by these catastrophic floods, resulting into displacement of a staggering 2,750 individuals.
Na kwa leo watu zaidi ya 2,075 na 50 hawako katika makao yao. Makao yao iliweza kuharibika.
Reporting for TV47 from Mai Mahiu in Nakuru County, I'm Willie Dennis Njiru.
Thank you, Willie Dennis. Now, a family in Kariobangi South in Nairobi is seeking justice after a 13-year-old student who was allegedly shot by a police stray bullet last week. The family of the 7th grader, who is currently admitted to Kenyatta National Hospital, now wants the government to cater for hospital bills. Violet Auma now reports.
The life of Elvis Muya, a 7th grade student at Riverside Primary School in Kariobangi South, has been tragically altered following a harrowing incident last Thursday. The victim's uncle claims that their beloved son was struck by a stray police bullet while innocently on his way to the shop to buy a book.
Alimpiga risasi na wakamwacha. Hiyo ni live bullet. Imeduka kwa mapacha, imetokea kwa tumbo.
In a distressing account to TV47, George Kimani, Elvis' uncle, recounted how the police began firing into the air to disperse a crowd of outraged youth attempting to set bulldozers ablaze. These protests were against the ongoing demolition of buildings in riparian areas along Nairobi River. Amidst this chaos, Elvis was hit by a stray bullet.
Kasuguzwa na mkokoteni Baadaye ndio mama yake alipigwa simu akaambia mtoto wake anasuguzwa na mkokoteni na watu wale wamemchukua wamempeleka Kariobangi hospitali.
Lakini waliniambia walipata akizunguzwa na mkokoteni ati akichangiwa pesa apelekwe hospitali. Kwani askari wako na roho gani ya kupiga mtoto risasi wamuache baada ya kumchukua mpeleke hospitali?
Eyewitnesses claim that the police abandoned the severely injured boy, leaving it to good Samaritans to rush him to the hospital.
Kama ni risasi watumie, inaitwa rubber bullet. Wanashatumia hiyo kushtua watu, lakini kutumia live bullet hiyo ni kitu ya unyama hiyo.
Desperate for justice, the family reports that despite having filed a complaint at the Kariobangi police station days ago, no action has been taken. They are also burdened with mounting hospital bills at Kenyatta Hospital and are urgently pleading to the government for assistance to cover these escalating costs.
Hiyo mtoto wetu sioni kama atapata haki. Judikienda huko Kariobangi kwa polisi wananisuguza. Wagaramakie hiyo mtoto juu ako hosi saa hii. Hiyo maneno yote wachukulie, wajua watamtoa hosi namna gani juu hiyo biru jana ilikuwa karibu so bili, wajua namna gani. Tubo yote ilikuwa ije. Alika ICU siku 3 lakini sasa ameanza kulikava.
Fred Abuga, the police commander at Starehe police station, has stated that investigations have commenced to determine whether Elvis' injuries were caused by a bullet or debris from the demolished buildings.
Wale watu wamekaa huko baada muwatoe kwa usalama, mnawatoa na kiunyama mkiwaua. Hiyo sio kibinadamu, hiyo ni kiunyama na serikali haina uhaki. Juu kama ingekuwa haki ingesimamia watu iwaangalie iwaondoe ama iwaonyeshe mahali wataenda kuliko kuachanisha kama maungu.
Violet Auma, TV47.
Thank you, Violet, for that. Now we take a very short break, but when we come back, we tell you how the elections in South Africa is faring on. Don't go too far. We'll be right back.
Kila kiongozi ana hadithi yake ya kipekee.
Wazazi wangu walikuwa bit strict kwa sababu mamangu mwenyewe mimi kutoka kuzaliwa sijailala nje.
The white small one, huyo ana sniff gunpowder na risasi na bomb. Alafu huyo mwingine ni ridgeback ana sniff simba.
Even the employees knows that, so when in the boardroom is the chairman, the CEO and the rest of.
At what point are you a wife?
The minute you get to that inside that door, you become now the wife.
Na kila maamuzi wanayoyafanya hufichua mengi kuhusu utu wao na uongozi wao.
We see God blessing us, and we now realize the power of giving also has to be rewarded back.
Kupitia kipindi Mfahamu Kiongozi, tunakuletea mahojiano ya kusisimua na uchambuzi wa kina kuhusu viongozi wetu.
Pick your core business as the bigger stones. Put them in your diary first. Give priority the bigger things.
Usikose kila Alhamis saa 1:30 jioni.
Welcome back to the Daily Report. Now, millions of South Africans are continuing to vote in what is expected to be the country's most pivotal general election since the end of apartheid 30 years ago. This is because polls indicate that for the very first time since the ANC took power in 1994, it may lose its outright majority. CGTN's Yolisa Njamela has more and will be telling us how the process is going.
According to the Independent Electoral Commission, a record 27.79 million people are registered to vote, the highest number to date. The Commission reports that the electoral process has largely been smooth so far.
The Commission reports a smooth start to national and provincial elections for 2024. By 7 o'clock, 93% of our network of 23,000 at which we were delayed opened within the hour.
Grow up. Thousands of eligible voters formed queues from early in the morning to cast their votes.
Things can fully change in 30 years. Even if it takes 100 years, we will continue to vote for the ANC. We've experienced apartheid. Never again.
Some 190 observers from the Southern African development communities and other countries have thus far given the voting process a thumbs up.